Hello students, this is Neha Mathur and welcome to all on my YouTube channel. So from today we are going to start a new subject from electronics and communication, and the name of the subject is signals and system. But before starting the topic, please subscribe my channel and click on bell icon to get updated for the upcoming videos. Fine. So our today's topic is signals and system. For electronics and communication engineering perspective, signals and system is a very important subject. This is also important from electrical engineering students. So, firstly I will let you know about what is signal actually and how we can define about a system. So, the first thing is, what is signal? See, it is very difficult to define signal in a single statement because as per the application, the definition of the signal is itself different. Just an example, for electrical and electronics engineering students, we can say that signal is just a representation, or I can say that it is a fundamental quantity which is used to represent information, any kind of information in the form of signal. While for the mathematics purpose, we can define signal as it is a function which is used to again represent the information, but as per the application, the definition of the signal is different, but at last it is used to represent the information in any form, in any kind of signal. It may be an analog signal or it may be a digital signal. So when we are talking about the type of the signal, we have in general two type of signal: analog signal and digital signal. As I told you that signals are used to represent information. Look, information, just an example, human voice. Human voice is itself an example of signal. Or I can say that you are going to observe the temperature of a day from morning to evening. You just want to observe the temperature, and for the representation of that observation is again will be in the form of signal. So, in daily life we can consider that we have several objectives, we have several observations which can be represented with the help of signals. When we are talking about analog signals and digital signal, firstly I am going to discuss about analog signals. So, analog signals as well as digital signals are defined with respect to time. Fine. Now, the next thing is that analog signal is a continuous signal. That means we may have huge number of values for the representation of any information if it is represented with the help of analog signal. This is a best thing that in terms of accuracy, that we will have more accuracy of the information if that information is represented with the help of analog signal, while to analyze that particular signal is going to be little bit difficult in terms of analog signal. Again, the reason is because we will have thousands of values, we have infinite number of values for the representation of that signal. And the next thing is the storage. For the analog signal, we need infinite memory because it has infinite number of values for the representation of any information. If we are talking about the example of the analog signal, I am again repeating, human voice is a best example of an analog signal. For the representation of analog signal, for the perfect example of the analog signal is human voice. It has many examples. Just an example, we have thermometer, the reading of the thermometer we are getting for the thermometer, weighing machine. So we have multiple examples related to analog signal. Now come with the digital signal. So digital signal is a discrete discontinuous signal. The meaning of digital stands for discrete, which means it uses some specific value for the representation of any information. Here we have two discrete values. With the help of that two discrete value, we can represent our information, and that two values are binary values, which is 0 and 1. So if we want to represent our information in the form of digital signal, that is a discrete values, we have only binary values 0 and 1. Now come in terms of accuracy. So digital signals are less accurate than analog signal, and the reason is that we have only two values for the representation of any information, while in the analog signal we have huge number of values. In terms of their observation, we can analyze digital signals very easily because again we have two values. So it is easy to analyze digital information. Now come with the memory. How much storage is required for the storage of a digital signal? Again, here we need less storage if we want to store our information in the form of digital signal. And the best example of the digital signal is square waves. Square waves, or I can say that digital phones, laptops, computers, these all use digital signal for the storage of digital information. The memory required for the storage of digital signal is less than analog signal. Again, because we have less number of representation of any information than analog signal. And the best example of the digital signal for the representation of information is computers, digital phones. These all are the example of digital signal. Now the next is how we can, what is the representation of for the analog as well as digital signal. For the analog signal, we have a best example, which is a sine wave. You can represent, this is a perfect example for the analog signal. If you are going to represent your information like this, like a sine wave, which means you have an analog signal, while in a digital signal you have a representation in a square wave, having only two values, 0 and 1. So this is all about the digital and analog signal. Now we are going to compare both the signal on the basis of some comparison parameter. It is very important. So the next thing is their proper comparison. Here I am writing comparison parameters. The next is analog signal. The first parameter is their analysis. So as I already told you that for analog signal we have huge number of values for the representation of any information, which means it is difficult to analyze analog signal. While in case of digital signal we have only two binary values, so it is easy to analyze digital signal. So the next comparison parameter is their representation. Analog signal is always represented with the help of sine wave, or I can say that it is represented in a continuous way, while digital signal is a discontinuous signal. The next comparison parameter is accuracy. I hope you all are already familiar with the accuracy for both the signals. Analog signal is more accurate. This is less accurate. And the reason is, again, it has infinite number of values for the representation of signal, while here we have only two values for the representation of any signal. The next parameter is storage. For analog signal, we need infinite memory, while for digital signal we need less memory, or I can say it is easy to store digital signal. The next parameter is subject to noise. Subject to noise means some kind of deflection, some kind of addition of unwanted signal, mixing of some kind of signal, which may affect the output of the output. So for the analog signal, subject to noise is yes, that there is a chances to mix unwanted signal into an actual or original signal, and the reason is because of infinite values, while there is no chance of noise addition with digital signals. The next parameter is recording technique. The recording method. What is the recording procedure for digital analog signal? For analog signal, recording procedure is a original way. The original signal which you are going to record will be your raw data, for which you will have to apply some process as per the need of the application. While in case of digital signal, you have signal in the original form, and you can take some samples from that original signal as per the need of the application. So I can say that it is a original recording, original signals, while here we can take some samples from original signal. So this is all about the proper comparison between analog and digital signal. As I am going to conclude the difference between these, in a single statement I can say that the signals are used to represent any kind of information which may be in an analog manner as well as digital manner. If we are going to represent our information in analog manner, which means that we will have huge number of values, we will have infinite number of values with respect to time to represent that information. While in case of digital signal, we have only two values, which is denoted as binary values, or I can say that these are discrete values for the representation of any information. This is all about the basic information about the signals. Now we are going to discuss about system. What is system actually? So the next is system. What is system? See, system is, in a simple definition, I can say that system is a model, or it may be a block, or it may be a physical device which is used to process the information we are going to apply on that model or block or physical device. As per the execution, as per the requirement of the application, that system is going to implement that applied input and will provide the output. So we can simply represent our system in a block manner. That system may be any kind of block, model or physical device at which we are going to apply our input. As per the type of the input, as per the set of the input, the system is going to work and will provide output. Technically, this input is said to be excitation, while this output is considered as an response. Fine. So this is a simple definition of system. Now the next is there any type of systems? We can define system again in some category. So yes, the answer is yes. We have two types of systems: analog system and digital system. See, it is very simple that if you have a analog input, for that you will need analog system. So in analog system, you will have analog input as well as the output of the system will again analog signal. While in case of digital system, if you are going to deal with the digital system, your data, your input should be in the form of digital. And as per the representation of that digital input, the system is going to implement, the system is going to execute the work you want to execute from that system, and again the output will in the form of digital signal. So it is very simple that for the analog system, both input and output, the nature of the input and output should be of analog signal, while in case of digital signal, both your input and output should be of digital nature. Now, one big confusion with this concept is that is it always possible that if we are dealing with analog signal, that in that case we will always have our data in the form of input signal? No. It is not necessary that you have your raw data in the form of input, in the form of analog signal, but you will have to convert that. If it is in the form of digital signal and you want to deal with analog system, then you will have to first convert that digital input in the form of analog input. Then only you can apply that analog input into analog system, and then your output will be analog output. Now again the thing is, if I want to represent that output in the form of digital signal, then what will happen? Because output is in the form of analog signal, then again you will have to convert that analog signal in the form of digital signal. It is also happens with the help of systems. So indirectly I can say that again we are going to use some kind of system which will convert analog signal into digital and digital into analog. So in a simple manner, you can easily understand that system is nothing but some sort of block which is going to process for you as per the application of your execution, or I can say that that particular block will work for the input you are going to apply on that physical device, and then it will provide some response from that system. Now it may be an analog and it may be a digital, depends on the type of the nature of the input. This is all about the basic of the system. I hope you all are clear with the basic concept of signals and system. If you are following my concept, please consider to subscribe my channel and click on bell icon to get updated for the upcoming videos and for better reach. Fine. Thank you.